What's good, 99 Dream family? We back at it, episode 51 of the 99 Dream Journey. My name is Julian Taliaferro. Y'all know we coming again with another weekly business update, lessons for the week, and topic for the day, which is questions. So to start this episode, I was actually going to wait until my 52nd episode, which is next week, but I'm just going to announce it now. So I made my website, and you can check it out at 99dream.com. And I'll also be posting my first weekly log on Substack and other platforms, including my website. So my weekly log is kind of similar to my episode. It's just in written form. And I'll have all the links in the description to my Substack, but then also my website as well in the description, so you can check that out if you would like. But now I can get into my quote of this week, and it's, "Human beings are the only creatures with the ability of change." And this quote was from Greg Harden. And I think is plainly saying that it is within our power. Change is within our power. So we need to utilize that. And again, the quote is, "Human beings are the only creatures with the ability to change," from Greg Harden. And now I can get to my business update. And it's pretty short, but I'm just going to let y'all know that I'm going to be going to New York Fashion Week next weekend. So it'll be pretty fun and exciting, but this will give me some insight into the current landscape of fashion as I continually try to integrate as much as I can into that industry and learn as much as possible. And then my second note is just that as I've been telling people about my startup, I really have realized that I am always pitching. So many people have told me this, you're always pitching, but it never really clicked until this week. And I think it's just the importance of always being on point, because you never know who you're talking to. So you always have to clearly explain what you're trying to build. So always got to be on your game, and the pitching never stops. So that's my business update. Now I can get into my lessons for the week, and I have two of them. And the first one is just that success is different from recognition. So success is something that you feel on a day-to-day basis. Success is waking up in the morning and then grinding that rest of the day. And then recognition would be something like graduation. So say all 4 years of college, that's my success. But the recognition aspect is just that graduation day. And let's say that 2-3 hours where you walk across the stage. So I'm kind of thinking about that and internalizing that in terms of entrepreneurship. What does my success look like, and what does my recognition look like? And not get caught up in the recognition aspect, because the success on a day-to-day basis is what really matters. And then my second lesson of the week is actually a lesson from Greg Harden, because I was listening to a podcast where he was talking to this point, and he's actually the trainer of Tom Brady. So an accomplished trainer, or let's say coach. And what he was saying is that you want to get to a point where you can give 100% of the time, right? So always being on your A game, never letting that foot on the pedal. So when I think about that, I'm asking myself, what would it look like? How can I imagine it? How would it look like if I'm always on go? If my baseline is me at my 100%, how effective would I be? How productive would I be? And I think it's just me trying to structure myself to where I can build up and get to that point eventually. Of course, I'm not there as of now, right? But I want to get to a point where I can give 100% of the time. And that's my second lesson. So again, the first lesson is success is different from recognition, and success is what really matters. And then my second lesson is get to a point where you can give 100% of the time. It may be exhausting, but if you get to that point, your worst day will be somebody else's best day. And then now I can move over and get into my topic, which is questions. So I had a conversation the other day, which actually inspired this topic. And in the conversation, the person I was talking to was adamant on me asking questions, but then to ask better questions. In that conversation, it felt like he asked me this question maybe 100 times. He asked me, what question am I answering? Right, so that's a very vague question, but when he asked that, it kind of allowed me to sit down, let me reflect, and try to give him a precise answer on what am I answering, right? What question in my startup am I answering? So the overall idea is just to think critically through all stages by asking deliberate questions. So you technically never know the answer to anything. All you have is an assumption. So you have to consistently ask questions and prove out if that assumption is actually true. So you have to ask the right questions, but then ask better questions, get specific. You have to ask why, you have to ask how or what, and the kind of startup you build is based on the kind of questions that you ask. And he was way further along in the process of being an entrepreneur and just building a successful startup than me. So I had asked him if he was at where I'm at, if he was at the stage I was at, what would he be thinking about the most? And he again reiterated that he would assume nothing and consistently question everything. So the key is just to be calculated on what you want to figure out and solve. And then that's done, right? You ask the questions that reflect that. So this is similar to what my mentor Alexander had told me a couple of months ago. He had told me to list out every single question that I have in my startup, whether it's questions that I have as I'm building it out, whether it's questions that I have in terms of my customer, my target market, any question that I have, no matter what aspect of the business it may be in, I need to write it out. And ultimately, I'll need to have an answer to these questions. So it should be at a point where there shouldn't be a question or gap in my business that I haven't thought of. So I may not have an answer to that question yet, but there shouldn't be an answer that there shouldn't be a question that I haven't thought of. So as it stands currently, I have a long list of questions that will need to get answered over time. But as I have this list, it allows me to kind of structure, right, what I want to think about, what questions do I want to answer now, what do I want to answer later, what do I have that I can answer now, what's my ability to answer now, and then what do I have to push off, right? And then just consistently ask these questions, make sure I have an assumption, and then prove it right or wrong, and then grow like that. So that's my topic. And then next steps for me are just to head up to New York for Fashion Week on the weekend, and then continue work on the startup. So, all right, let's get it, y'all. Go and achieve your 99 dream, and it's 99 dream because you are going to achieve your dream. And it will be 100%, but nothing is perfect. So you're going to achieve 99% of that, and let's go and let's get it.